everybody. It's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. I did not go to the movies this weekend because it was Eurovision, my favorite time of the year, the European Song Contest. And if you don't watch it, you are missing out. My favorite song, most of my favorite songs made it into the grand final. This time, the rest of the world was actually allowed to vote, so that was very exciting. So in the two semifinals, I actually did cast a couple of votes. The problem is that they cost, €1 a piece, so it was basically like $1 and change for each vote. So I basically cast like 4 votes in the first semi and 4 in the second, just for the songs that I liked, to try to see if, just so I could feel like I helped in some small way get them into the grand final. And it worked for 7 of those 8. One of them, sadly, Malta, did not make it through. But everybody else did, and I was very happy about that. And it was a great show, probably because the semifinal votes were only audience votes. There was no jury putting acts through. The audience decided who they wanted in the grand final. So you had less sappy ballads and, jury bait, and you had actually fun, entertaining songs. And my favorite song was Belgium, because it sounded like something that I would have danced to at Limelight back in college. I also very much enjoyed Slovenia. Great party rock song, even though I don't understand a single word they're saying, because I don't speak the language. And another big fave was Austria, with a song about Edgar Allan Poe, of all things. The whole audience was chanting Poe, 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 Poe along with them, and it was fabulous. Unfortunately, Sweden was predicted to win. Loreen was back with another song, Tattoo, and it's a good song, but it's not my favorite song of the bunch. But everyone was predicting it to win, and then sadly it did win. I'm not to take anything away from Sweden, but I just would have liked an upset, just to make it more entertaining, because it was just very predictable. At the very end, when the voting was being counted and everything, Finland with Cha Cha Cha, so good. That was the only one that could possibly put up a fight, and it did. And it got to first place, but then when Sweden got their audience votes, that propelled them back into first place again, and they won. So, good try, Finland. They put up a good fight. But no one could beat the Swedish juggernaut this year. So, it was just predictable. I would have preferred a surprise twist ending. That's just me. And I've actually been inspired to check out some of these artists on Spotify to see, what else they got. Because I like it. It introduces me to new music. The problem is that a lot of times it's producers just create a song to represent the country, and they just pick a singer to sing it. So looking up that singer, you're not necessarily going to get more of that kind of music. They might do something else completely on their own. But here, I listened to Joker Out, the Slovenian band, on Spotify, and another one of my favorites was Voyager, who was the Australian prog rock band that was really good. They had one of my favorite songs. So I found them on Spotify. They got a few albums too. Unfortunately, Gustav from Belgium only has a few singles and I think maybe an EP. He hasn't really done anything, so maybe he'll get a record deal out of this. Good for you, Gustav. So anyway, yay Eurovision, my favorite time of the year. But that's enough of that. Sorry, enough rambling about Eurovision and music, world music. Let's talk about some games. I know that everyone out there is playing Zelda, except me. Well, that's not true, actually, because I was playing Animal Crossing and I saw a big, huge number of my friends were playing at the same time. So I just checked to see, and to my surprise, they weren't all playing Zelda. like 90% of them were, but there were like, a few that were playing something else, so good for them. And I know there's a part of me that like wants to play Zelda, but then I just have to keep reminding myself, you didn't finish the last one. You got super frustrated with everything breaking, and the ending got so hard, and everything kept breaking, and you put it down, and you were like, F this. So the same thing is going to happen here too. So yeah, like you're going to buy it, you'll enjoy it, you'll explore, you'll have lots of fun, and then eventually you're going to reach a point where you're just like, fuck this noise, and you're going to put it down, and you're never going to finish it. And that's just frustrating. And why I put myself through it. Is the enjoyment I'm going to get worth the frustration that I'll experience later on? Because also, in addition to keeping this whole breaking shields and weapons thing, they've now introduced this new crazy crafting thing where you make all kinds of random stuff. And of course, like you make vehicles and weapons and that sort of thing. And of course, penises, because give the public the ability to create random things in a game, and these idiots will create penises. But like, I'm just like, oh my god, this is too much. Like they just keep piling on the gameplay elements, and I'm just like, what happened to just like, a sword and a shield and running around and fighting monsters and like collecting like a few different things like a bow and an arrow and a hook shot and stuff that allow you to like solve puzzles to finish a dungeon. Like I liked it when it was simple, and I just feel like it's getting to be so much that I can't, it's too much, and no. But, so while everyone else was exploring Hyrule, I was exploring the Burning Shores. I had thought that I was heading for the end of the Forbidden West DLC when Aloy and Seika were exploring the bad guy's dinosaur theme park, the ruins of it anyway. And it turns out that was not his real hideout. And because he just sent like a big giant machine after me, and that wasn't even that hard to kill. So I was like, okay, this is not the end. And sure enough, it was not. And so then the next main quest was very clearly going to be the end of the game. So I said, let me go and wrap up any side things first. Because me personally, when I play one of these big open world sandbox kinds of games with the main quest and tons of side quests and errands and whatever, I like to finish the side quests before the main quest. Because once I finish the main quest, that's finishing the main story. And for me, that's like the end of the game. Even though these games tend to put you back out into the world and say, now you can do whatever you like. I tend to like to feel like that's the end of the game. I prefer to say like, okay, and now we are done. So I like to wrap up the side things if possible beforehand. So I went and found that last toy, the dinosaur toy that I didn't find before, because it turns out you need them to solve a puzzle in the theme park. And when you solve the theme park puzzle, you get a trophy. You also get some holographic fireworks and a new face paint, which I did not care for. Then I went and found the last couple of aerial captures, so I could get that trophy. And then in doing that and exploring and unfogging the rest of the corners of the map, I managed to find some more Oseram artifacts at the little camps and realized what this was leading up to, and I knew there was like one or two more that I needed to find. And there was a camp that I had found where I hadn't found an artifact at, so I went back there, and it turned out it was just trickier to find the cave where the artifact was. But it was fun, because it's like you have to find where the cave is, and then you have to figure out like how to get it out of the cave, because you have to get over there, and it's just getting from point A to point B while traversing all kinds of obstacles and stuff. It's a puzzle thing, and it's fun. So I finished the Oseram thing, and then I followed the instructions on the artifacts in order to locate the buried treasure and get that trophy. And the treasure, of course. Not that it matters, because it's the end of the game, so who cares, but it was just to do it. I don't even remember what was in there. Lots of extra weaves and stuff for your armor and weapons and whatnot. And then it was time to go, and I said, okay, we're done. This is all the side quests. All right, let's go finish this. Let's wrap this up. And the final boss battle was epic. It was insane. And it was really tough, too. I didn't die. I came close a few times, but I didn't die. It was an epic boss battle. What's funny is there's this epic boss battle, and then there's like this small platforming section that leads you to a more intimate boss battle that's the final one. Because there's always more than one boss battle. There's always extra levels. And it was hilarious because I didn't die during either of the fighting sections. It was the platforming in the middle where I kept missing a ledge or falling from something, and I died like a half a dozen times. It was the most annoying, frustrating thing ever. I was just like, oh my god, am I not going to be able to finish this because I can't platform my way through this bit? Come on. Anyway, wrapped it up, beat the bad guy, all done. And then there was like a nice little, storyline wrap up with Seika, which is I finally got to the part that was leading to Forbidden West being review bombed on Metacritic because Seika admits her feelings for Aloy. Spoiler alert, by the way, but I'm sure you've heard about this on the internet. And you have the option to pursue a romance. I mean, it's not really much. It's like at the end in the epilogue, so it's not like you're pursuing a romance. It's optional, which is the annoying thing that they're like, don't force this lesbian stuff on us. And it's like, they're not. Like, Seika is like, hey, what about it? And you have three options. You can say no, you could say not yet, or let's do this, basically. Those are your three options. So, two of the options are no. So, you don't have to watch two girls kiss if you don't want to. They're not forcing that on you. So, I went with it just because I thought Aloy never has a romance option, ever. So, if they gave me a choice, obviously I would go for the hot guy over the hot girl, but they're not giving me a choice. They're just giving me this one option. So it's like, well, sure, let's give Aloy a little romance, make her happy. Can't hurt. And then after that, there was a little tiny epilogue scene where you go back to your home base in the Forbidden West and you talk to Silence, and it's basically all set up for what I'm assuming is going to be the premise for the third game that I am hoping and assuming that they're going to make, because these are such good games. And they're doing well, so I'm assuming they're working on a third one as we speak. Sadly, I don't know what they're going to do about Silence, given the passing of Lance Reddick. I'm assuming that, I guess they could kill him at the beginning of the next game, but that would be weird. That might mess up the story too much. So maybe they'll just use the same character model and have somebody else do the mocap and get a sound-alike to do the voice and minimize his part in the game. I don't know. We'll find out when they hopefully release the next game in the series in a year or two. Come on. And then once I finished that, you'll all be very proud of me. I did go back to Ace Attorney Chronicles. That's right. I want to wrap up this case and figure it out and find out what the hell this whole big deal is with the teleporting. And obviously they faked it, but you got to get to it step by step. And you got to interview a bunch of creepy characters and go through all kinds of nonsense. But there is a twist here that I did not see coming that actually makes my complaints about the first half of the Ace Attorney Chronicles, which was actually the first game. This is the second one. They put them together for the Switch cartridge. So my complaint about the first game is now being addressed in the second game, so that's nice. And I am determined to wrap up Ace Attorney before I buy or play anything new. Finish what you got, because I leave too many games unfinished. And this is a game that I don't have to leave unfinished. Sometimes I have to leave them unfinished because you just, like Zelda, I just can't do it. So I have to leave it unfinished. But this is Ace Attorney. I can finish this. It'll just take some time to get through the story. That's all. So this was a long one. I apologize. I'll try to keep next episode much shorter. Bye!